having me.
Well, okay, thank you very much. We are tonight with our very special guest from Playlist Wars, Gomez. Huh? How's it
Yes.
going, man?
Good, good. Thank you for having me on the show. It's exciting, especially
Oh,
for two Latinos here.
yeah, to Latinos. That was actually one of my questions. You have a very Latin name, but you don't have any accent at all. Like,
No, I was born and raised in New Jersey.
oh, that's where it comes
So,
from.
yep. So no accent, but born and raised. My mom was Cuban, my dad's Peruvian.
No
So,
way.
yeah, so I have, as everyone says, pretty thick Latin blood. You know.
Wow, that's very interesting. Like that's so fun to hear because, well, I'm from Colombia. You
Okay.
probably noticed around, but uh, we're neighbors with Peru.
Yes.
So that's so cool and very interesting. And well, uh, you guys have that show, the Playlist Wars. I've been engaging a lot with the show. Um, like actually this morning I was listening to Slipknot
Okay.
episode. And
learning something new right there, right?
totally, because well, in Colombia, like that kind of music doesn't come too often.
No, it does not.
Probably the top of the top, the top of the charts ones, probably the most important ones. But this morning I had the chance to
To
meet and to
listen.
know and to listen this very interesting music. It's very cool. It's
It's
very
different.
cool. It's
It's very
different.
different.
It's very different. You know, for shows like ours, like we have to be open to hear different kinds of things.
Mhm.
And I remember you were talking that your daughter, she had one very one of the songs that she liked the most
Oh, the
from a
Muppets. Yes, the Muppets episode. Yes, I'm number one, and you're number two.
exactly.
Yes.
And so yeah, you have to be open to listen to different things,
Mhm.
to understand what's going on around. And yeah, thank you for coming once again. And you, like, talk talk to me a little bit about Playlist Wars. Where did the idea come from? Like, when did it start? I know this month you're in 1 year. It's your
We're celebrating our one
birthday.
year tomorrow, actually, on the third. So we're celebrating 1 year tomorrow.
I'm feeling
Um,
lucky here. Happy
yeah.
birthday.
Thank you. So this came about towards the end of 2020. So Brian, best friend for after almost 28, 29 years. I've known him since I was in eighth grade. He was in senior in high school.
Oh wow.
We got paired up for the day. He was my senior buddy, and I was learning to maybe I was thinking about going to the same high school. And me and Brian just connected right away. And almost 28 years later, here we are with two families, with both of us like having kids. Brian was a podcaster already.
Oh, okay.
So Brian had a show called Tune Styles with
Okay.
his with another good friend of his. I popped in like once, like a couple episodes here and there, you know what I mean, as a special guest.
Mm-hmm.
And during the year my son was born, I took the month off when he was born from work. I come back to work for about a month, and then I got hurt at work.
Oh.
So I was out of work for about 2.5 months. I was getting a little bored at home, not working. I'm used to being on the go, working every day, not
Mm.
sitting home being a couch potato. So I threw Brian an idea of maybe me doing a podcast. And the funny thing is, I still have the original book a year later. So now tomorrow I'm going to go through some of the notes and look at stuff. You know what I mean? Because originally I was thinking about doing a sports, video game,
Ooh.
movies, and music. Having Brian help me out a little bit and all that. And then Brian goes, let me think about this a little bit. A couple days later, he came up with the idea of Playlist Wars. Originally, it was supposed to be me, Brian, and our buddy Jay, drummer Jay. But with his work schedule, it ended up being me and Brian, which we
Mm-hmm.
respected. He came on the show a couple times, and we respected the fact that he was there. You know what I mean? And we said, well, why don't we start inviting special guests? We didn't have a huge repertoire of lists, so we just started going to the Twitter page. And that's where we met a lot of great people: X Radio X, Patio Slave,
Mm.
Lauren from the Beard Outcast, Michael's Records Revisit, all these great guys. You see us conversing now with you in the mix too. You know what I mean?
Mm.
This has been a great as we call it, the podcast family. It's been a
Absolutely.
great thing. And I actually had to step away for 2 weeks. Actually, these past
Mm.
2 weeks, I actually stepped away, and I had personal things going on with the family, and
Mm.
Brian and I always said family first. So, but I said to Brian, we can't stop the show. So Brian's like, don't worry about it. We actually had some of the other podcasters jump in my spot and help me out.
Oh,
And,
nice.
so we can't thank them enough. So yesterday we released Slipknot, and I did a funny video, like me pretending like, maybe I wasn't coming back. And I said, no, I'm back at Playlist Wars, everybody, So things like that. It's been a hell of a ride. From I think we just passed 20,000 downloads already for us. So we did it with under a year, which was phenomenal for us.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm like stunned how everyone has gravitated to me and Brian, and whoever jumps in, you know what I mean? Especially me being not as musically inclined like Brian is. Brian is a musician.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Brian Colburn has he's got his music. He's got, his own CDs out. He's very talented with the guitar, bass. I think he could play all of it, actually.
Oh,
And
wow.
he was a lead singer. So Brian introduced me to a lot of the music. So, a good one was like episode 2. I'm not a huge country guy,
Okay.
but we did Eric Church. And
Wow.
talk about listening to Eric Church, and I was like, wow, this is great music. And we let the playlisters, as we called our community, the people who listen to us, playlisters,
Mm-hmm.
we said vote, and I'm surprised I won the vote. I was kind of stunned.
And
So,
and that happened because you were open to listen to, like, you were like, okay, let's listen a little bit to country. Maybe I'm not a country guy, but I'm just gonna be open to this. And wow.
And that's the thing. That's what makes us, I think people not fall in love, but love our show. The camaraderie, the talk between me and Brian back and forth, that's 27 years, 28 years of friendship right there. You know
Yeah,
what I
of
mean?
course.
So it works very well.
You can feel the connection very fast. Like there's a connection immediately from the moment every episode starts. You can feel the connection. The connection is there.
Yes. I mean, so for me being a Latino, Cuban and Peruvian, it's different trying to break out as a podcaster. This is my first year. So now, as of tomorrow, it's been 1 year for me doing podcasting. And I tell you, me and Brian said this is our bowling night. Like when we hang out together, you know what I mean? Ever since COVID, it's been difficult. Brian, he's got 2 children. I have 2 children. We love them like if they were our own, you know what I mean? So this is how tight we are as a family. I consider him a brother. I don't have a brother. He didn't have any siblings. We consider each other brothers. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So we worry about each other's families. We worry about everything. And, but when it comes to the show, we just forget about everything and just concentrate on having fun.
You have fun. And I can tell, like, it's so easy to tell you guys have a lot of fun there, and it's exciting. It's nice to hear how it evolves, and then the episode starts, and you don't know at what time, but it goes really fast. So it's good.
We try to keep it within the hour. Don't get me wrong. Some of the episodes go a little long. A couple episodes with Chris Hartman, who's an old high school buddy of mine, that went a little long because me and him can talk hours about movies. Another one was another huge one for us was the 90s hip hop with Doug Miller. He's another high school buddy of ours. So, bringing other people outside the realm has been great too, because you get other diverse, I put out, I want to say a couple months ago, just to throw out to see if anybody want to do like a Pitbull or like a episode of Rigatone, which is out of Brian's realm.
Wow.
But the response I got wasn't like, nah, I get it.
Of course. that's kind of the things I'm getting used to,
Mhm.
because when it comes to music, like when you have an English speaking uh, audience,
Mhm.
it's hard for them to engage with Spanish things, with things
Yes.
in Spanish. It's so
But
hard.
but if you're listening to like the New York stations here, like KTU, Z100,
Mm,
and you're hearing Pitbull, Daddy Yankee, you're
you see?
hearing J Balvin, you hear all these guys, and you're like, but you're listening to Spanish music
Exactly.
technically. You're hearing the Spanish world right there, and that's something I don't think people realize it sometimes. You know what I mean? So this is why, like I said, I would love to do it because it's again being two Latinos. That's the thing.
Exactly.
You
That's
know,
fantastic.
so for me to be on the show, it makes a good point because here I am as a Cuban Peruvian man making it into the world. You know what I mean? As a podcaster too, just proves that anybody could do it. Not like you, if you put your mind to it, you can do it.
I feel honored, man. I really appreciate it. It's so encouraging and motivating for me because, well, I'm starting like, well, I started a couple years ago, but it was in Spanish, and
Okay.
then I started changing it for a bit, changing a little
Mhm.
bit the scope, changing a little bit the format, and
Yeah.
now from, I'm gonna say, like last year, I guess, like mid 2021,
Mhm.
I started thinking about the format that I have right now, and things like the ones that you're saying is like are really motivating to, like, for me, right? So I
And that's
appreciate
awesome.
it. I
Well,
appreciate it so much.
I appreciate that from coming from another side. You know what I mean? So for me to hear that is always appreciated because sometimes we don't hear it. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
And I appreciate you for doing that though. You know, I mean, you're going from Spanish, like you say, you went from Spanish now to you're going into English. You know, that's not a hard. That's a hard switch.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to get. The
Right.
audience is totally different,
Yes.
and that's the thing that I'm learning. I'm engaging with different podcasters like you
Mhm.
guys, like, and not only about music. I'm also engaged with, well, many others, voluntary input, the drunk bitches be like podcast, like,
Yeah.
there are many podcasts around, and I've kind of understand like what is the audience looking
Mhm.
for. So they're just looking for fun, for
Yeah.
the people having fun, and so they can just relax and enjoy. That's what they want.
Exactly. That's what podcasting is about. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
If you take it to a like if it's a job, then don't do it.
No, no,
You
it's
have
not.
to enjoy this. I mean, I enjoy it. You know, my wife supported me fully before we started this venture, me and Brian. You know what I mean? I had to ask her because, you know, she's a teacher with two kids and
Oh well,
I work Monday through Saturday, you know, from 7 to 5, 7 to 12. So my scheduling is very tight.
of
So
course.
people don't realize like they want to know how we get the show going. So we schedule, you know, upon a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks ahead. And then what I do is I put my list that I think is going to be good for me. And then when I'm getting closer to the show, then I start making my notes. So like for me, Brian is the encyclopedia of music. He loves his covers. You know what I mean? Where me personally, my itch, I decided to change the format a little bit. I think after the third or fourth episode of Playlist Wars, I,
Oh,
I, I brought another element into the show: movies and video games.
you talk a lot about Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, and one of my favorite video games right now. Actually, it's kind of funny you said that. What do I have right next to me?
No way!
Grand Theft
Wow.
Auto, and I have Uncharted too, showing you.
You see,
I,
now that the movie is out there,
I've played this game before even the movie came out, and I'll
yeah,
tell you,
for sure.
I saw the movie. It was a great movie. So for me, I'm waiting for Grand Theft Auto movie, but then again, we're living the life as we're speaking.
Yeah, exactly. Totally.
So I love Grand Theft Auto. There was a lot of great music in the series of video games. A lot of 80s, a lot of hip hop, a lot
Hmm.
of rock, you know. So when you play like Grand Theft Auto Vice City, that was marketed for like the 1980s, the Miami Vices, the Don Johnsons, and all of them. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You play Grand Theft Auto 5, you're getting the genre of now. Little John. These guys.
Hmm.
Everybody, the different taste of hip hop,
Hip
rock.
hop.
You know what I mean? I love all types of music. So for me, that's why Brian calls me a mainstreamer. I love, a good set. I like my songs, but once in a while I'll throw Brian and then my guest, our special guest, a little loop. If I pick a deep cut, they're like, wait a minute, you just picked that out of your butt there, because they're not expecting that from me. They're expecting uh, a song that they would think of, you know what I mean? But I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I like to switch it up.
Yeah, you make those kind of switches every once in a while, and that's very fun and very interesting. And well, I I also asked you for 10 songs.
Yes.
And the reason why I do that is because I like to hear like a little bit of the background behind, like
Mhm.
what's what why are those songs important to you. and
Mhm.
and they really caught my attention because most of them are favorite ones for me as well.
Well,
And
I mean, some of them are for movies, some of them is from personal life experiences, and talking about the music, like Brian could, like I said, Brian could go for hours. I give the short synopsis, you know what I mean? I'll get right to the point, but like I said, this is what I love what we do. Because
yeah, for sure.
if we didn't love what Brian and I do, the show would never have been successful. And to see the popularity that we're getting from the show is unreal. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, and
Uh,
it's fun, and the way you transmit the message and the way you guys connect, like you really create a connection with your audience. Like
right.
when I'm hearing you guys, I start laughing, and for example, Slipknot, I didn't know, well, I knew like a couple songs, but not all
Right.
of them. So I just stopped for a bit the show
Yeah.
and went to YouTube and like, okay, I want to hear this.
Yeah.
And then I start listening to that and I'm like, oh my God, how come I didn't know this song?
And that's the thing. And that's the education too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like just to tell a story, but to inform other people. Like there's more music to it.
Exactly.
There's more to their music. It's just not one hit song or one hit album. There's more to it. We just recently just did ZZ Top
Oh,
with,
I remember that one.
yeah, we just did that. My God, last night.
And
And
then
we've,
continue, please, because I remember one episode from you guys from a
okay.
band that I didn't know
Okay.
at all, and I was thinking that was like 2 episodes ago. And
Okay.
then
I'm trying to think what episode that is
and
now.
then that and then there was like a song with a witch
Oh,
and
Blacktop Mojo. Blacktop Mojo.
Black Dove Mojo.
Yes. So that's a Texas band. Very cool guys. They came, the lead singer came on our show. Very chill, very cool. You know what I mean?
I can tell. Yeah.
And we had also another great episode besides the singer from Blacktop Mojo. We had G Love too on our show. And let me tell you, that was a great episode because he had some great songs that we chose off the Special Sauce album, and there was a couple of connections for me and connecting with G Love too. I'm like, dude, this is all about family. And then with you, with the kids, just like me, you know what I mean? And he's like, exactly, you get it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I love it. You know what I mean? So it's special like that.
Yeah, and one of the things I like the most is when I go to the videos and when I hear bands that I've never heard at all. Like
Mm-hmm.
for example, Slipknot, I heard a couple songs
Right.
in the past, but then these new band, well, because well, it's not new bands, but new bands for me
Right.
at least. It's so nice to hear those new rhythms, new riffs,
Mm-hmm.
new songs, new videos, new styles, and I am like, oh my God, there's more out there.
Oh
It's
yeah.
more, it's because sometimes you get stuck in Billboard and who won the Grammys and who's selling the most, but
Exactly.
you don't see that there's a whole sea of bands and artists out
Mhm.
there, very talented.
Oh, exactly. Like, when like sometimes I go back to what my parents used to listen to, Celia Cruz, you know, the Gypsy Kings, all these wonderful artists, Mark Anthony, Julio Iglesias, Enrique, all these wonderful artists
Hmm.
that come out from anywhere from the Spanish world, South America, Central America, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Peru, Spain. You get all these wonderful Ricky Martin, Menudo.
Hmm.
This is something I grew up on too, Menudo. So for me, this was huge. So growing up as unfortunately, I grew up speaking more English than I did Spanish
Yeah, for
because at
sure.
the time my mom thought English was going to be the way. Learned the hard way. I had to get bilingual, and I learned quickly. I didn't speak English all the time. My grandmother, diehard, old school Cubana. She'll
Oh
get the
wow.
chancleta. You know what I mean? She gets the
Chancleta, of
chancleta.
course.
So when you are bad, the chancleta comes out and it gets
Chancleta.
thrown. So this is how, old school, but she did not speak English. She spoke Spanish. So for me, it was biste, arroz, and frijoles.
Ah,
So that's it.
beautiful.
So that's all she needed to know. And plátano maduro.
Plátano
That's what,
maduro. Plátano
yes.
maduro.
So that was like a staple at my house growing up. As I grew up, I started working with my father. So I was a high school teenager, 16. I need a car. So I worked weekends with my dad at a restaurant as a food runner.
Okay.
Appetizer, he would run the main dinners, I would run the appetizers. So here was the problem. I was the only one that didn't speak Spanish. I had to learn on the fly, and I picked it up quickly.
On the go, like uh,
You had to know,
eh,
piccolino, dame treto, treto, and my dad and I, we were like, boom, 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 boom. And that's how I learned. Now, I never learned how to write or read in Spanish, but I know how to read it. I can't write it very well. I'm a bad Latino. I will say it. But I'm very proud of my Cuban Peruvian heritage, and I'm proud to be the firstborn in the family in
Oh,
America.
that's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome. Like
So,
having that heritage is in your blood. Like
yeah. And my daughter's proud of who she is. We have my wife who's Italian. Now she's a Gomez. Go figure. So my daughter's got some good blood in her. You know what I mean? So I
yeah,
said, you're going to be a hell of a cook. You got the Spanish world, and you got your Italian world too.
Italian world too. Yeah,
So that's a good thing, you know what I mean? And we're raising my daughter and my son the way I was brought up too, strict but fair. You know what I mean?
exactly.
I don't want her to take everything for granted. When I was growing up, my parents couldn't get me everything. I had to earn it. You know what I mean? There was things I had to earn. Hey, you want that?
Mm,
Let's get good grades. Hey, you want to save your $5 for that? Save it for the next time. Don't buy the candy. You know what I mean? Things like that.
that's the good education, man. It's
And it's the Spanish education though. That's the hard
exactly.
way. I
It's a
look
hard
at
way.
it this, it's the hard way, but I look at my parents. My mom came from Cuba, goes to high school. She goes to college. She gets an education. My dad comes from Peru, came up the hard way, worked as a waiter, never, got his high school GED, but nothing else. You know what I mean? He's more
Hmm.
of a street guy. My mother is a book, very book smart. My dad was a street guy. So I always said to Laura, everybody, I'm like, listen, I am not book smart. I am street smart. I'm street smart. I'm an entrepreneur. I love to do things. I love to do things with my hands. I like to think it out. I don't need
Always thinking out of the box.
outside the
Always.
box. You have to. Where now my wife, who is very smart, very educated, got her master's, her plus something for teaching and all that. And then I have my daughter, who's 5 years old, who's turning 6 this year. She is very, very smart, book smart, and she's very, very street smart. So you have a combination of two to make her a very dangerous and maybe a powerful woman one day.
She will be. I'm pretty
You
sure
know,
she will be. She has
so
all the ingredients.
yes, and so does my son, which is another good thing. So I told her the one thing I just said: don't be like daddy, working every day. Be who you want to be. Don't do what I do. But I fell into that trap like my dad. I worked hard. I worked hard for a living. I have a little bit of college in me. You know what I mean? When I lost my dad
Mm.
at 21 years old, not the easiest time of my life. The drinking, the partying was happening, and then
Yeah.
when I lost my dad, I lost. The drinking became more heavier.
Yeah, of course, of course.
So I grew up being the only child. Don't get me wrong, I had a few good friends. Brian was there most of it for me. So, that means a lot to me. So that showed the friendship he had.
Exactly.
We had, it was the toughest time now, for a long time until I met my wife. Things reopened up, celebrated Christmas, Thanksgiving, things like that. We stopped celebrating because unfortunately my dad passed away right during Thanksgiving, Christmas, and everything. And he fought.
Gee,
And I thank God the values he's installed into me of working hard, being persistent, try to get what you want.
that's very inspiring. And when it comes to those kind of stories that really mention the reason why you are who you are,
Mhm.
mm, it really brings everything back to how Latinos are raised, right?
Mhm.
Like the and the fact that Brian was there
Mhm.
at that difficult time is also a sign of that you guys are brothers, man. Like, you
Yeah,
guys are not friends, are more than friends. You guys are brothers, and you guys can do whatever you want
Mhm.
because now you know very well each other. Now you
Yeah.
have that really good connection, and that Latin heritage, that Latin blood is gonna be transmitted to your kids,
Yep.
and I'm pretty sure they're gonna be fantastic human beings because they have all the ingredients
I just
of
told her shoot for the stars.
yeah.
I keep telling Isabella, be who you want to be. Don't let us dictate your life. I get it. My mom wanted me to be this big, powerful person, but I wasn't that guy. I was more of a like my dad. And it shows. I look like my mom, but I thought like my dad. And my daughter looks like me, and so does my son. My daughter's 100% me. It's a mini me with long hair. I have the short hair and the goatee. She doesn't have the goatee. So we're both very stubborn. So when we are yelling at each other, you see it. We are to the T, the
Yeah,
same
for sure.
person. So she's stubborn like me, and she's very hard headed like me. And if she doesn't get her way like I did, it just not work. And sometimes we need to walk away from each other. We both know it, and we both come back about an hour later, and we apologize.
But that's part of the human relationships
Yeah,
at any point. Like, there's no perfect match
nah.
every time. There's every once in a while you need an argument because if two people think the same way every time, then
Mhm.
one of them is doing something wrong, right? Like,
Right.
so at some point you need that contradictory
Mhm.
um, argument just to make you think like, wait, am I right or am I wrong?
Wrong. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
think like that every day.
exactly that. So that's cool. That's really fun. And yeah, like I'm looking here at the 10 songs, and the first one you picked, I'm pretty sure it has a reason. You picked Pressure from
So
Billy
first,
Joel.
Billy Joel. So first of all, Melissa Boylo, we did an episode with her from Songs of the Attic. She was an awesome guest to have, and she did the Muppets with us. So she's a huge Billy Joel fan. Like she goes sees him in concert and stuff. So I was looking forward to this one. Billy Joel Pressure was a song for me that takes me back to when I was playing pool, billiards.
Okay.
So for some reason, every time I heard this song, the pressure built up and I shot better. So for me, when it was my first year in leagues, we used to play to go to Vegas, Las Vegas for the championship. So I remember the one time I had my earpods on, and my iPhone, my iPod on me, and I remember my captain goes, "Hey, Gomez, I need you up. You're playing against this really good shooter." I go, dude, I just got my lunch here. Are you kidding me? I was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. We'll eat it for him." Like, oh, that's it. I was so upset. I put this song on loop and I beat the guy pretty bad.
He
Actually,
put you on
when
the spot.
I got put on the spot a little bit, so to put the pressure on me, and
Uh-huh.
I got upset. I'm like, I
Yeah.
got a hot plate of food over there. You want me to play a guy who's better than me? That's it. So I lag for the win to break the thing. I right off the bat, 9 ball in the pocket breaks. You know what I mean? So there's 2 points. I started running 5 balls a rack, and this guy's like 2 balls or 3 balls, and everyone's like, dude, what the hell's going on? And everyone left me alone. So when I beat the guy, I took, I said, good game, thank you. He goes, you're a cheater. I go, I didn't cheat, dude. I'm hungry. I want to get this over with. So that was number one for me, Billy Joel pressure. You know what I mean? So it brings back a fun memory in my life when I played pool for so many years.
Well, that's so cool to hear. That's a very anecdotic situation that
Yeah.
really puts you in a really complicated scenario, like very how do I say, like you were out of your comfort zone because you were
Yes.
totally like working on your lunch, on your meal, and then
Yeah, they threw me into the wolves. You know what I mean?
yeah, like, oh my God. Yeah, well, thank you very much for that.
Mhm.
uh then we have Robert Tepper. Robert Tepper, No Easy Way.
No
What's
easy way out. So that is from Rocky Four,
uh-huh.
one of my favorite movies, and probably one of my favorite scenes. So when I need to get away from things, when I'm getting stressed out and everything, I go and drive in my car, just like Sylvester Stallone did
Uh-huh.
in Rocky Four. And I start thinking, what's going on, what should I got to do, stuff like that. So that's why this song reminds me, like, there really isn't a easy way out. There's no shortcuts.
No
You got to face the challenges ahead of you. So for that time, and a part of my life, that's when I was trying to figure out what I'm doing in my early late mid 20s. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what was going on because that's where my dad was already gone. So I took a lot of shortcuts, try to make some fast
Hmm.
cash here and there. It didn't work out.
Hmm.
And I just said, I have to go back to the roots again. You know what I mean? So this song's another important part of my life,
Of
and,
course.
and it just means a lot to me.
It gives you a sign that uh, things when you try to do them by the like through the easy way,
Mhm.
most times it goes bad. Like
Yeah,
it's not probably it's probably the easy way, but it's not the best way.
exactly.
So when you hear songs like this one, you notice, okay, we need to do this in the right way, and if we do it the right way, things are gonna go well.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, those are the kind of songs that are really motivational and inspiring. And
Mhm.
then you have Linkin Park plus Jay-Z, 99
Yeah.
Problems and Points of
Words of
Authority.
authority.
I was thinking about that one because the most popular song from that album was the Numb Encore.
And Numb and Encore. Yes.
And
So
yeah, tell us a little bit.
I didn't pick Numb and Encore for a good reason. When I saw this with one of my old friends, his name and my buddy Brad, back in the day, we both loved Linkin Park and Jay-Z. And I said, how funny it would be if you could just get them together. Literally a month later, we're watching the MTV Collision Course,
Oh,
and singing the Linkin Park section. I knew the Jay-Z lyrics, and it was just something that we knew, we loved it, and we just, it was one of those things that we did. You know what I mean? So it was great.
and you
You know,
started a back to back. You started singing it like,
yeah, like we knew the words.
oh
So
wow.
so he knew the words, I knew the words, and you hear us, and we were cracking up, and we were kind of drinking a couple beers too. You know what I mean? So
Of
it was
course.
just one of those things that we did. So that's just a great song, which I love hearing it. The rap to the rock to it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Everything about it. It just felt so great, so smooth. And unfortunately, you lose a key member in Linkin Park, Chester, and that's a sad thing this year because of the depression and anxiety that even in the world where you are, where we are,
Mm.
we're all feeling it with the whole thing with COVID. Even though they're saying COVID's going away, it never will. It'll always be a part of our lives.
Totally, totally. Yeah, Chester, when that was, I think, 2017 when that
Yeah.
happened.
Yep.
And it was shocking because to me, he was one of the great voices like for the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah. He had an unbelievable voice. He did Temple of the Dog with Chris Cornell, and you know how he
Imagine
recently,
that.
And he passed away too. So you're talking about
Yeah.
two iconic singers, you know what I mean, that unfortunately we lost. And we always wonder what the future would have been.
Yeah, of course, of course. Like there was a lot of good music that we lost when we lost them, right?
Mhm. Yep.
But it's good that we have at least like this kind of music. Like
Mhm.
this collision course experiment was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like it went really well, and I'm glad that you picked this one because it's I like that. Those are the one of those songs that are stuck in your
Head.
in your storage, but
Yeah.
you don't, just when someone like you bring them up, you're like, oh, that song, yeah, that's so cool. And
Yeah.
then
So
you,
it's one of those songs, like you say, you hear, you're like, oh man, that is a good song. You know what I mean? So
yeah, totally.
I always bring that song up every time too. So
Yeah, the next song you picked, and it's honestly one of my favorite ones as well, Unforgiven from Metallica.
one of my favorite songs. Again, I when I did the Metallica episode, it was such a difficult episode to do
It was the first
because
one, I guess.
yes, it was the very first
The
episode.
very first episode from Playlist
So
Wars.
for me, Unforgiven was just one of those songs that it was just a part of me growing up. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It had no significant meaning, but just listening to the song, you know what I mean? And listening to the words of Hetfield and everybody,
Hmm.
listening to Lars hitting the drums. Jason Newsted was the bassist at that time, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? So just hearing them and, the guitarist, just hearing all that was just a great song. And I heard it live once and I just said, wow, I love this song. And it's one of those, you hear it live once, you hear the studio, and you're like, wow, this song will always be a part of you.
Yeah, it's
So
so
this is,
pleasant.
it's just one of those songs that become a part of you.
Yeah, of course. And I remember this, like one of the reasons I started to like rock was
Mhm.
because of well, this song and songs like this one,
Mhm.
songs that start really soft, like you don't know where they're gonna get, and then
Right.
boom,
It picks up.
and then you're like, wow, right? Like
Unreal. It's one of those things, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I'm glad you picked that one. It's really cool. And continuing with the line of Linkin Park, you
Mhm.
also picked Somewhere I Belong from
Yes.
Meteora.
Yes. One of my favorite albums. Hybrid Theory and Mirror were two of my favorite albums, but I love every Linkin Park song there is. So this one had significant meaning because there was one point in my life I just did not know where I belong.
Oh.
This is where I lost my dad, trying to figure things out. I just felt like I didn't have like the grouping I used to, besides Brian and a couple of other friends.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I used to be the kind of guy that would go here, here. Everybody knew me, you know what I mean? And a lot of my friends were trying to get me out of the rut, you know what I mean? But they didn't get it. Losing a parent's not the easiest,
No.
especially when he's your dad, your best friend, and your brother rolled up as one. You lose,
Exactly.
you lose hope, you lose faith a little bit.
And at an age that is so critical for the human being,
Mhm.
because you were 21, you were
I was 21 when he passed. I was turning 22 actually.
that point of life is critical because you're exactly you want to belong somewhere, right? Like
Yeah, and it's just one of those songs that I would sing and enjoy it, and it brings me back to reality too. So, it took me a few years, but then I found where I was supposed to be, and I've been happier ever since.
yeah. It's a really good song. I think it was the first single from the album,
I believe it
and
was.
it's a really good song. Then you picked Thunderstruck from ACDC. That's another cool one.
That's another great song. So again, you hear the album version and you hear the live version, two awesome versions. So For me, Thunderstruck was one of those songs that got stuck in my head playing football.
Oh,
And and it was kind of funny when I graduated in 99, the movie Varsity Blues came out
okay.
with James Vanderbeek, and this song was in there too. So it kind of reminded me of my high school years of playing football, and a couple of the games, like, where we shouldn't have been, we did, and we had too much fun and we lost a game, you know what I mean? But we paid for it. So, and then as I went to coach, we okay, sorry, this happens once in a while.
No, no, it's okay. It's okay.
So when I graduated high school, I became a coach of high school football. So I loved every minute of it. So every time I hear this song, it was like my pump up music, shaking on the knees, dun, 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 the drums, everything, the guitar, the singing, it pumped me up to play the game or to coach the game for the kids. And that's something I loved.
Exactly. Those are the songs like you need to hear prior a game, or
Mhm.
you need to hear like before something really like a match or something,
Yeah.
and that makes the vibe and the energy more exciting.
More
Or
exactly. Like for me, before a football game, like we would go to church in the morning, breakfast after church, and then we're at the field by like 10:30. So
Mhm.
kickoff is not till 1. So what I would normally do is at that time in 99, we'd had CD players only.
Yeah.
So making mixed CDs. So this was one of them. I had like a little bit of a game ritual. I would actually put my game pants on, have my shirt, my sleeveless shirt like this. I would actually lay on the 50-yard line, not literally on the line, but next to the 50-yard line. Lay there with the music and think about the game.
Exactly.
Everyone was like, "What are you doing?" And right before kickoff, so like around 12-ish, 12:30, I would like, okay, time to wake up and time to play the game. Like I'm already focused. That's why a lot of people loved our team, because we were just like, let's just do this. You know what I mean? Let's have fun. Let's get to going. And then, we put our lunch pails under there, punch the clock, and let's go play the game. That's how we were.
That's
And
great.
that's something I loved.
That's a very good story, and it's very interesting because well, from like there's a trend in the songs, and those are like the ones that the songs that keep you moving,
Yes.
keep you moving.
Yes.
And the next song you picked was Into the Great Wide Open
By
from
Tom
Tom
Petty.
Petty.
Another great song. It's one of those songs like you see a guy go ahead in life, becomes the rock star, does everything, and then you see everything fall. So at one point in my life, I was on top of the world. I wasn't famous or anything, but for me, I was on top, and it took something to kick me right back down to the ground and realize there's more to it than being this person. And
Yeah,
sometimes you need that.
sometimes you need that for
And
sure.
that's something that's humbling, you know what I mean? So for me, that song resonates me. I love the music video. I love Tom Petty. Brian, who is a huge Tom Petty fan,
I can tell.
he loves Tom Petty in the Cars. Like those are a couple of the groups that he truly loves, and I love that about him. You know what I mean? He got to see him the year that the Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and he gets to see Tom Petty with it too. How you can't go wrong with that. So he got very lucky. So
Yeah.
I was always jealous of him. I go, I hate you. I hate you. You're at the game.
Yeah, Tom Petty, that's a really good one as well. And thank you for choosing this one as well. Mm, the next song you picked was Send Me an Angel.
By Thrice.
Thrice.
So I love the original too by Real. So I chose the heavier one because again, it was such a great song back in the 80s, and it's a great song now, by punk. It was a punk band who did it, and I just heard it and I just loved it.
Yeah.
And it just again makes you get pumped up a little bit, even though the girl probably did something to you, it just you go back after it, you know what I mean? So that's why I chose that song. It's just an overall awesome song.
Brings energy and breaks a little bit the how do I say it? Like breaks the moment and puts it in a more
Yeah,
uh,
more upbeat type of
upbeat,
deal.
upbeat.
Yes.
And then after that, you picked probably the softer song from the list, and I like this song because um, Eminem mentions this song
Mhm.
in one of his
Stan.
In
Oh
Stan.
yeah, I'm a huge Eminem fan too.
So yeah, Phil Collins in the air tonight.
So Phil Collins in the air tonight takes me back to me and my dad.
Hmm.
So what are we watching is the pilot season that was on VHS of Miami Vice. And that song me and my dad loved tremendously. So every time I hear this song, even with the cover song by Nonpoint, they did a cover of it, awesome cover too. But this one, the original, it
The
just takes me
original.
back to my dad. Me and him watching Miami Vice, watching the Ferrari, the Daytona Ferrari at that time, saying, we need that car, you and me. You know what I mean? So it's a pipe dream, but it was something that we always talked about at the time.
And under that context, I'm pretty sure this is the kind of songs that breaks you.
Mhm.
Like the like for me, like I have a lot of songs like that are motivational, and some other songs that break me.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure this one kind like would eventually break you. Like
It will. It does once in a blue moon. Like it's gotta catch me like on the right at the right moment on something. You know what I mean? So if like I'm having a bad day and I hear it,
yeah,
yeah, that will break me. But if I'm having a good day, I just
of
think about
course.
all the great thoughts. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great song, love it. In the air
Thank you.
tonight. And then last but not least, and this is a very good song as well. This is from an album, All That You Can Leave Behind, I guess, or
Yeah, I believe it was. Yes.
uh, yeah, it's a beautiful day from you too.
So YouTube Beautiful Day is significant to me as the day I married my wife.
Oh,
This was our one of our wedding songs in our music montage. So it always meant well because the day of our wedding was July 11th. So
okay.
July in New Jersey is not it's not the prettiest. It could be the most humid day you can ever get, or it could be the most wettest day. For some reason, it was the perfect day. There was no humidity. It didn't rain. You couldn't ask for the most beautiful day ever to get married. You know what I mean? It was perfect. And that song resonates to me to the day. Every time I hear it, I think of my wife walking down the aisle, thinking of the friends that we shared it all with that day, all that stuff. So that is the way I ended this list, you know what I mean, with something uplifting and powerful.
Exactly. And wow, that's fantastic. That's really cool. How many years have you been married?
We're about to be going into 8 years now.
Yeah, you see,
Uh,
time
and
flies.
two kids later, and no dog, no dog.
No dog yet.
No,
Yet.
no, 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 no. I
Not
know how it
happening.
is. Not happening. But listen, unfortunately, that dog would probably be neglected, and we don't want to do that. So we're having trouble with the two kids as is.
Oh, Gomez. Well, I really appreciate it. Like having you on the show is for me very honoring, very humbling, and I'm very honored by having you on the show. I appreciate it. I've learned from you guys a lot, not only about music, but also about the meaning of friendship, about how to deal with a podcast,
Mhm,
about many things. So you guys lead by example and keep it up, because not only you're not only leading by example to me, but
mhm.
I'm pretty sure to other podcasters out there that
We're trying
that
hard, but we're learning from other people too. You know what I mean? It's just not us teaching; it's us learning from other guys too. You know what I mean? Like yourself. Like I'm actually saying this as the first time being on your show, and we're actually talking. I got to listen to a couple of your shows. You know what I mean? Before jumping
nice.
on here.
Thank you.
So for me, it's an honor to hear again Latino
Latino.
in the podcast world, which makes me even prouder because there's not that many of us.
Yeah, it's not there are not too many out there. So
So for me to tell you that, it's really important because I appreciate what you're doing.
thank you.
So for you to start off your podcast of being all Spanish, then you're changing your format, then you're going a little bit of each, then you're going now like this. Dude, that's an awesome transformation. You're doing an awesome job. And
Thank
I
you.
can't thank you enough for inviting me on the show. I know Brian said I got him, Sen Gomez, you know what I mean? And you know what? it was a great opportunity because I remember I'm like, oh, Latin Jukebox. I go, that's a podcast I got to talk to. You know what I mean? Especially when you popped in a couple of chime-ins. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So for me, it's huge because having another Latino in the mix in the podcasting world means a lot
Gomez,
because it's showing people that we can do it.
I totally appreciate it. It has obviously not been easy. It takes time, it takes efforts, but in the end, you're doing what you love, you're doing what you like, and you feel the love around. So
Mhm.
thank you very much, Gomez, for everything that you have like talked to us, and not also because here we brought Gomez from Playlist Wars, but we're not listening only to the podcaster. We're listening to the human being. We're listening through the songs to different stories, different anecdotes, and that makes you understand more about the person behind, the human being.
I appreciate that very much, man. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, and yeah, looking forward to well, the drill, right? Like editing and stuff.
Oh yeah, you got to do all that. But if you don't mind, I want to give out some of the stuff that for our show, for to where that people can find us if you don't mind.
Of course, yeah, of course, yeah. Just how can people find you? How can people
So
find you?
you guys can find us easily. Me and Brian are on Twitter, on our personal Twitter pages, at Brian Colburn, at Gomez79. You can also find us at Playlist Wars on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram, Playlist Wars Podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Playlist Wars. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, Good Pods, pretty much everywhere. Playlistwarspodcast.com, where you can listen to the show. And also, for patreon.com/playlist wars, people could chime in, grab a tier, see if they could get on the show with us and stuff like that. So definitely can find us in all these areas, man. And, I can't thank you enough for having me here tonight. It's been a true honor and a pleasure to work with you tonight. It's been an honor. It's been a great show.
Thank you very much. It's gonna work out really well, and I appreciate it. Now you heard it, guys. You just need to browse Playlist Wars, and it'll pop up for sure. You need to listen to these guys. These guys are awesome. They talk about music, they have fun, and in the end, they just battle. So they're just battling like who gets the best playlist out of the two or three there, and it's exciting to listen to them. So I really encourage you guys to take a listen to Playlist Wars.
Thank you so much again, man.
Take care, Gomez. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I really hope we keep in touch, we keep in contact,
Oh, without
and
a doubt. We'll see. I'll talk to Brian, try to see if we can get you on our show.
well,
Get you a
you never
battle.
know.
You never know, man. We'll get you a 10 playlist. We'll think of something.
For sure, I'll think about it. For sure,
Yeah.
we'll think about something for sure.
Oh, without a doubt. We'll definitely talk though. All right.
Thank you very much, Gomez. Say hi to Brian and take care, guys. God
I
bless
definitely
you.
will. Thank you so much again.
Say hi to your family. Sorry to keep you up late.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. I really appreciate everything again.
Thank you. Take care, Gomez.
Take care, man.
Bye.